So my name is Morgan, and I am 29. I'm going to be 30 in March, and I am a speech pathologist and a yoga instructor.
Nice.
And I'm trying to think of what else. I am living in Arizona right now.
So,
I have had my diagnosis of PCOS since I was 18. And so, gosh, that's 12 years ish. Um,
about.
yeah, but I've been having symptoms honestly since I was 11 and first started having my cycle. Um, I'd say I haven't even had typical hormones since then, probably for my first year, maybe until I was about 12. I had regular cycles and things like that. But right after that, I started having a lot of issues with it'd be 2, 3 months in between um, my each time I had a cycle, and then also mine were very heavy and painful, so much so that I would be laying on the floor with
Wow.
hot towels and everything when I was little. And I went to the doctor, and they were always just like, "Oh, you're active," because I was in a lot of sports. They were like, "Oh, it's just not coming on because you're playing sports and you're working out a lot, and you're really skinny and things like that." And so we just went with it, me and my mom. And then probably around 13, I hit puberty and the facial hair just
Mm.
out of control. And again, the doctor was like, "Oh, well, your family is hairy." My mom, everybody was like, "Oh, no, we're all really hairy. It's fine."
Oh my
And
God.
yeah, so I just had a weird puberty. And then finally I went to on my first the first time I went to a gynecologist instead of just like my primary care doctor. Um, at 18, she was like, "You know what? You have a lot of the symptoms." By then I probably was having like one period a year on my
A
own,
year?
a year.
Oh my gosh.
And so she was like, "You know what? That with the hair growth and the abnormal periods," and by then I wasn't as active. So she was like, "You know what? That sounds like probably PCOS." Um, and so she immediately put me on birth control. And gosh, I think it took 3-ish tries before I found anything that wouldn't have me bleeding for months. Um, Crazy mood swings, crying all the time. Um,
So the uh, sorry, you caught me when you say you had to try like different ones. You mean like the birth controls that they were prescribing you? You had to try different ones before you found one that actually worked.
yeah.
Okay, did they give you a choice? Or it was just like, okay, you have PCOS. This is the solution. Like, how did that happen for you? That it was just like, okay, birth control it is.
Actually, you know what? Like it wasn't really a choice. She was like,
Oh,
"Oh, so to help with the you're making your cycle regular and then also to help with the hair growth." She was just like, "Oh yeah, here's birth control." And so she just prescribed it to me.
oh my
And
God.
I was 18. I went
Right.
to the gynecologist. My mom didn't know what I had. And so we were like, "Oh, okay, fine."
Yeah.
So yeah, I never really had a choice. I just was given it. And then each time the first two didn't work, I'd go back to the drawing board. She just give me another prescription for another one. Um,
Dang.
I don't even know what the brand is, but I finally found one that wasn't like making me crazy. Crazy though,
Making you crazy.
I already was, already was. And so I took birth control until I was in probably just until undergrad, so probably like 2, 3, 4 years. Um, and I had some good side effects. I was less hair growth, except like that week that has the sugar pills, then
Right.
out of control. But I had um, regular periods, and just everything was going okay. But I was also having excruciating migraines. At least
Mm.
all 3 weeks I was on the pill. Out
So
of the
that was like the side effects for it.
Yeah, I had horrible migraines. If I missed a pill, it was like I could go from like super excited and bubbly to couldn't get out of bed. I was so like
Oh my
sad and
gosh.
upset. Um, and because I guess I've apparently always been kind of like a emotional, dramatic kind of kid, my family just thought that, oh,
She's going through her phase.
yeah, I'm going through a phase. Even now, honestly, my mood swings can go from 0 to 100 and back again in like minutes. Um, and everybody's just like, "Oh, no, it's just Morgan. She's just dramatic." And so that part, I didn't know honestly until recently that the mood swings were like a big part for me, especially
Right.
because my blood sugar goes up so much, up and down so much. Yeah, but
Did that contribute to weight gain as well?
um, I'd say more recently in the last probably 3, 4 years. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha. So it's interesting. The reason why I ask, because for me, when I was diagnosed, I was like 23, 24, so I was a bit older. But for me, it wasn't just like, okay, this is it type deal. Or maybe because I was a little older, I had a whole lot of questions. So that was one of my options too. And it was just like, no, I don't want to go that route. And especially like around that time when I was diagnosed, I was married. And I'm like, we want kids. So I don't want your birth control. Like I need another route. So I never ended up taking it. And thank goodness, because um, what you shared and what a lot of women been saying, the side effects of the birth control itself is like, yes, they balance, quote unquote, balance my hormones, but this is what I now have to deal with as it balances the hormones. It's like, okay, can I get something or can I do something else where it's just like, okay, my hormones get to be balanced, but my life gets to be ran normal as
Yeah.
well, right? And that's been like my biggest thing ever was that because I'm like, okay, do I have to stick with this for the rest of my life? Like, because it's not a fix, it's just a temporary fix. And then it's just like every time you go, it's something else. She tried it so many times. I'm like, woman, no, like, I don't want it. You know what I mean? But again, I was much older and Theo was like 18. Since your mom didn't know as well, that was a different story. And this is like one of the reasons why I'm doing this in the first place. Like PCO has been around for years, but there's a lot of people, there's a lot of women that are not aware of what it is, how and even come about getting it. Well,
Mhm.
getting it right, like it's a thing, and or how to actually take care of yourself because some people's symptoms are a little more severe than others. For me, like you mentioned before, with the crazy pain, that was me. And it was just like, oh well, she, it's she's just cramping. But it was abnormal
Mhm.
because there were times where I would pass out. That's how bad my
Wow.
pain would be. But it was just like, oh, you just one of those that get bad cramping. You know what I mean? Like it was just like nobody knew what was going on until I went to my doctor and was expressing what was going on. And she's like, let me take a look down there. Let me see what's going on. Then she saw the cysts. Then she was like, okay, we need to do some more tests to see, if you have PCOS or not. So you mentioned that you have the the facial hair. Is it only here? Like, where does your facial hair um, apply? Is it like the entire place, or how does it go for you?
For me, it's honestly not even just facial hair, it's all over, but
Oh,
for the
okay,
most part, it's just all of this.
okay. So
The mustache area, yeah.
what do you do for it?
I've done laser,
Okay,
uh, 2 years ago. and it's all just come back. Um,
So what's the point of laser then? What, it just extends the length of time of not having hair? I thought it was a permanent thing.
well, when I went to go do it, they said that since I have PCOS, they said it'll get rid of 85%, and then it will come back until my hormones are regulated. Um, so it I will say it's made it a lot thinner. It
Okay.
was so coarse and dark, and I always have like
Bumps.
the bumps and the
Hmm.
dark marks. It cleared up a lot of that hyperpigmentation and things like that.
Nice.
The hair's a lot thinner, but it's still there. It comes in. I'm shaving or waxing
Yeah.
time. So
Wow. I can even imagine like how much money that can be to freaking keep up with that.
mhm.
That's crazy. Like my a friend of mine, she gets chest hair. Like
Mhm.
she doesn't get it in her face, but she gets it on her chest. I don't have it, but you can see like the discoloration. It's here, and then I have the patch here.
Mhm.
It's a little rougher than the rest of my face, but I'm hoping not, right? That it doesn't fully come out. But
Mhm.
at the moment, that's not a thing for me. So aside from the birth control and um, yeah, aside from the birth control, how have you been managing and just living with PCOS as a whole?
Um, I'd say medication wise, I not all the time, but usually I try every 90 days to take progesterone to clear out my system.
What exactly is that?
Um, from what I understand, it's another part of what you need. Like you need the estrogen, but you also need progesterone that kind of just helps clear you out and helps you have a cycle.
Mm,
I'm not exactly sure. It works. I like it because I only have to do it every 3 months. I take
gotcha.
10 days and then I have a normal cycle and then I go on. Um, but other than that, I was on metformin for about 9 months recently.
I
Um,
have been hearing a lot of people talk about that. Um, and I'm only asking because some of the women that will be watching these are people that just got diagnosed, so they have no idea what these terms are. And I just want to ask those questions so they know. And when they're doing their research and when those terms are thrown at them, they know what they are and they know how to deal with it. Because there's some, just like you were just 18, there's some other 18-year-olds that are now, getting diagnosed and have no idea what to do, where to go, and all that. So when they watch that, they get to have a better understanding and know that it's okay. Like, you're fine. Nothing's wrong with you. It's just a thing that's going on within your body, but you're still whole. You're still beautiful in and out, no matter what. But yes, back to what you were saying. You said metformin, and you take that. How often do you take that?
I was taking that once a day.
Okay.
Um, I stopped just because the side effects from that were I've always been hypersensitive to anything I put in my body,
Right.
so I can always feel the side effects. And then just hearing all the recalls and things like that, it was a lot. And so right now I'm not doing anything medication wise. Um, so I've I did change my diet. I have been vegan for 2.5, almost 3 years.
Yes.
um, I won't lie, I'm not the healthiest vegan. I will say I just like my mood swings. I go through a lot of like binge eating.
Yeah.
I will even say right now I'm in a stage where I'm just like sugar, sugar, sugar. And I that's what I can now tell I'm more cognizant of. I'm like, oh, okay, I need to get this under control. But like, yeah, I just have been um, trying to be as healthy as possible, especially with my vegan diet. But yeah, I like a lot of junk food. But I would
Oh,
say that's probably the think that's helped is becoming vegan.
Morgan, this right there you just shared is or has been one of the best decisions that I've made for myself.
Mhm.
Um, because, like I mentioned, I said no to all the prescriptions that were recommended to me because I wanted to go more of a holistic and a natural way of dealing with it. Be only because I don't want temporary
Yeah.
help. I need it like to be good, stabilized, and I just get to live my life. And you mentioned the vegan thing. It's been, I think, almost 2 or almost 3 years. I lost count of how long it's been since I've taken that on. And for me, I don't want to say I'm extra, but at the same time, when it comes to my health, like I'll go cold turkey with anything. So that's what I did. Like some people were like, okay, well, I'm gonna stop meat today, and then tomorrow or down the line, I'll stop dairy, whatever. I legit went cold turkey. And I don't necessarily recommend that for everybody because not everybody can do that or take that on. But um, since I've done that, it totally changed my entire being when it came to the pain. Like I wouldn't be able to do anything throughout the day because the pain would be so bad when I would have my menstrual cycle. And since I've transitioned, oh, and one of my things was the cystic acne.
Mhm.
It would go off. And now it's more tamed. From time to time, it would show itself, but in comparison to what it used to be before, it's so much more better. So that right there that you did, kudos to you because that's exactly what I was gonna recommend. Because the best part about that route is there's no side effects. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The only thing is like you say the sugar. Once one becomes vegan, unless you're raw vegan, a lot of the things you're gonna crave is sugar because carbs.
Mhm.
That's one of the which a lot of people would say carbs is not good, blah blah blah. Just like I don't know if you've seen the group too. They've mentioned how they can't have this, they can't have that, blah blah blah. I'm like, dude, you have to eat, okay? You can't cut out of all these things out of your diet and expect to, you know, not go off or expect to keep that healthy, active lifestyle and not go back to where you used to be. You know what I mean? So, gluten, yes, try not to have gluten within your diet, but carbs, carbs is absolutely fine because that is where we would get our energy and it turns into sugar anyway. So you'll keep yourself away from eating the unhealthy
Yeah.
sugar that you find yourself craving. Um, but that just made me happier hearing you say that because I really thought you'd be like, yeah, I'm still taking this and that and this and that. And I'm like, man, it's a business. Um, the medical part, but that's another conversation of its own. But I just feel like we can take back charge of our health and our life by going that route
Yeah.
because what they put in our food is what's screwing us up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, okay, cleaner eating and staying active, I feel like is the easiest. And you get to feel good because the other things, you take it and it makes you feel worse. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, you balance my hormone, but now you make me depressed or you make me not want to do anything to the day. That's not fun. That's not cool. Um, so, I'm super excited because you're still young and you got a whole life to live. So, taking that route is super awesome. Was that recommended to you by your doctor or that's something you took on by yourself?
No, a friend at the time went cold turkey and went vegan, and I had dabbled in doing vegetarianism,
Mhm.
because I wasn't really a red meat eater. All I ate was chicken and seafood,
Same.
and then I just realized, I was like, "Those things are so expensive at the grocery store." I said, "Let me just go on, like, Meatless Monday," and so I became vegetarian first, and then I was still gaining weight because cheese and dairy, I'm lactose intolerant,
Yeah.
and I was in pain. When I cut those out, I was like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
amazing, just the difference. I could even feel when, like, maybe I accidentally ate something that had a animal product in it, like,
Your
it
body reacts.
but, oh, I feel sick
Yeah.
for for a couple days.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been life-changing, honestly.
Super awesome. Yeah. Same thing be happening to me. Like when I eat something that I know I was not supposed to eat, um, it will show up in my face and or I'll feel sluggish. And
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, Rose, was it really worth it? No, not really. So, yo, this is awesome. I'm happy you took that route, and you'll definitely. How long you said it's been
Um, I think 2.5, 3 years? I think about 3 years now.
since you were diagnosed?
Oh, since I was diagnosed. Oh, gosh, 2000, oh gosh, 12 years, 13
So,
years?
okay, in
So
2 years you've been vegan,
mhm.
and you've noticed the switch. Are you still on birth control?
No,
So you're not on any of that.
nothing.
Let's freaking go. Kudos to you. Kudos to you, man. So many people are still on everything, and some of them are looking for more.
Mhm.
Um, and it breaks my heart because I'm just like, yo, this is not the way. And yeah, I get a little emotional when I talk about it because it's just like, if I can just take everybody and be like, don't do that, don't. And there was somebody that was, they gave her a whole meal plan,
Mhm.
and there was 2% milk on the list of things for her to eat. And she, I'm just like, wait, how are you helping her right now? Like, can you please tell her the truth and really guide her to um, overall better health and not just like the temporary thing that temporary fix that or fast quick fix that we're looking for. Another question I had for you: how have your family, I'm not sure if you're in a relationship or not, and or your partner been supporting you within that journey? Have they been supportive, or it's just been like you and your own type deal?
Um, do you mean the on with PCOS?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'd say my family, we don't really talk about it. My
Okay.
sister also has the diagnosis that she got when she was in her
Yeah.
either 16, 18. So she has it also, but hers is completely different than mine. Hers
Right. That's what
presents,
I was saying. Right. Everybody's like different.
yeah, but I don't, she's not really doing anything for hers because
Oh.
she's still getting her cycle and things like that. So, it's
Um,
like, oh, I'm still getting it. It's fine. Um, I've talked to a lot of my family about it, but they can't relate.
right. Right.
Even the family, they can't relate. So they're like, oh, yeah, you say it's because of that, but it's your mood swings and things
Oh,
like that. Oh, it's probably not, so not supportive, but they just don't have
understand.
yeah, they don't understand it. And then my fiance now, he's really supportive. Um, he's like, oh, you want to try this new thing? Oh, we're going vegan. Oh, we're doing this.
I love it. I
So
love it.
he's good. It's he's been nice because just we're about to get married. We're thinking about kids
Kids.
and things like that. So the conversations we have to have because I'm like, it's not just going to be
That
an easy
easy.
thing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But no, he's been really supportive. Like, oh, what do you need me to go do? And what do we have
that's
to do?
awesome. Yeah.
So, and he understands the mood swings. I tell him all the time, I'm like, I'm more aware now. So I'm like, feel this way right now. I'm letting you know so that you don't get offended. Just,
You
I need
scoot
you.
over.
Yeah. Or when I'm like, when I just burst out in tears, he's like, oh my God, what happened? I'm just like, let's just let it happen. I don't know why it's happening. It's happening. Just go with it. So he's just like, okay, you need a hug? Yes. Okay. So he's been great.
Oh my
But
gosh.
yeah.
I'm cracking up because that's just been the deal with me and my best friend. Um, because out of nowhere, I'll bust out crying. And he's like, yo, what is going on? Talk to me. I'm like, literally, I have no idea. I
Yeah.
don't know. He's like, you can talk to me. I'm like, yo, I'm being so honest right now. I don't know. I'm just, I just felt like crying.
Yep. Mhm.
So it's awesome to have somebody that understands, because it lightens the burden. And, like, okay, I'm not being judged. I can be myself. And this person is not throwing shade or making what's happening to me seems like a story that I'm creating.
Yeah.
Because there's been a lot of things, for other women where it's just like, now it's because you didn't do this or you're not doing this. This is why this is not why you're gaining weight. Blah blah blah. And it's just like, no, I'm serious. Like my midsection, it's very stubborn. You know what I mean? Like, no, it's not because I'm this, I'm not. It's because, but one of the biggest things though that we get to realize is, yes, we were diagnosed with PCOS, but it's not us. And we get to live our life however we choose. And we get to make certain decisions consciously to, um, make sure that we are living our best lives no matter what.
Yeah.
You know, what would you say to somebody that just got diagnosed and, um, they're searching, their doctors telling them one thing, they may be in multiple groups, so you know what goes on in those groups. There's a whole bunch of different thing going on in there, and then their families over there saying one thing. What would you say, or what would you say to them to reassure them, to make them, okay, I'm good?
Um, I would say first do your research before just like taking what your doctor says, taking what the internet says. Just
Hmm.
get some different sources, different things. And then I would say the thing that I wish I had done or wish I had was just kind of find a community,
Mm,
find people you can talk to about it, not just your doctor or not just your family who doesn't understand, things like that.
right,
Just
right.
find as much information, get people you can talk to and kind of um, relate and maybe see if things are related to your PCOS or maybe it's not and
Hmm.
you're like, oh, okay, well, this is all just lumped together.
Right.
Just I think just getting more knowledge and just finding others there to support you is
Yeah.
the biggest.
Yeah. Totally agree. Um, and thank you for taking the time to share, because, um, they get to see and know that, they're not alone, and that, um, PCOS is just what it is. And we don't have to like mentally carry it with us all over and be like, I have PCOS and PCOS is my life. You still get to, I know some people that still get, can have kids. There's some that are working on it, whatever that may looks like, there's a way.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. Whether it's one kid or not, there is a way. Throughout my journey, I actually did a 30-day fruit fast, right? Where I didn't eat any food at all. That played a huge um, role, within my healing. But again, um, I didn't just take everything that I was reading, that I was seeing within the groups and ran with it. I know, I feel like we're going to get a lot of information. And even through this video, because that's why I'm doing these interviews, so we can get different ideas and we can hear different people's experiences. But at the same time, you get to take these information and pick out what you feel would work best for you.
Yeah.
Don't take all of them in and try to juggle and do everything, because you're going to be burnt out and or end up with something worse. Like, I was speaking to this other woman that was diagnosed with PCOS, and they prescribed her a whole bunch of other things, which resulted to her being diagnosed with something totally different. Like, adding on, like, dude, I don't want extra. I don't want you to add to what I'm already going through. Um, so, man, thanks again. And kudos to you on stopping um, those meds and, really taking it and tapping into whole foods and natural way of doing things, because they'll last longer and you'll feel good and you were active already. So it's just like, that part's not a problem. You know what I mean? Because that's part of it too. We get to stay active and all that. So thank you, thank you, thank you, Morgan. Can't wait. I'm looking forward to getting to know you a little more and tapping more into your world. So talk to you soon. And thanks again for being on.
Thank you.
Sure thing.